Welcome to the Life You Crave. Simple and sustainable weight loss for women who have better things to do than diet. I'm your host, Leah Pinelli. I help ambitious, badass women stop overeating, overworking, and overgiving to lose weight from a place of love. I'll help you simplify weight loss, end your overwhelm, and create the life you crave. If you like what you hear, please like and subscribe to this podcast. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to the Life You Crave. So last week, we were talking about radical self-love over in the Life You Crave Collective Facebook group. If you're not a member, you should head over to Facebook right now, run, don't walk, and just search TLYC Collective and our group will pop up. And I invite you to join us because we are having discussions in that group about what we are talking about right here today. So for the month of February, we have been talking about radical self-love. And today's episode, we are going to take it a step further now and explore a little bit around the concept of radical self-care, or what I call exquisite self-care. So clearly, radical self-care follows naturally radical self-love. So again, if you haven't checked out that episode, make sure you head over to the Facebook group to watch it, or you can catch it on the last podcast that was just published right before this one. So here's the deal about self-care. I'm a little bit cautious when I use the term because it has become so trendy. And in a way, that's a good thing, right? Like particularly for women, we are in desperate need of some real self-care. However, it has also become like one more thing to do, one more thing on our to-do list. And the last thing we need is one more thing to do on our to-do list, right? So I have an approach to self-care that is a little bit different. And I'm going to be sharing that with you today on this episode. What I want you, though, to keep in mind is if your self-care tasks feel like a chore, then you're doing it wrong, right? And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it right on this episode. So what do I mean by doing it wrong and doing it right? Well, it's really about a reframe, right? It's really simply about reframing how you're thinking about your self-care. I'm going to give you an example of this. So yin yoga is a style of yoga that I have been a practitioner of for many years. And the thing that I love about yin is it brings my body such relief. Yin is it's a method of yoga that actually releases tension all throughout your body, particularly by targeting the fascia in your body to release itself through these long passive holds, right? When I say passive, I mean passive. There is very little need to use strength and muscle during a yin practice. That being said, it doesn't always feel good because it can get really intense as you're stretching the fascia and allowing blood flow to increase and move through. So when I do yin yoga, it feels like I've just gotten a massage. It literally has the same impact on my body that getting a massage has. However, I don't always feel like doing it, right? I don't always feel like getting on my yoga mat, taking the hour or even the 30 minutes to do it because it's on my to-do list and I feel like I have to check it off, just like I have to check off grocery shopping and folding laundry, right? It's like one more thing to do. So here's the reframe for myself. Once I have started the yin practice, and then especially once I have finished the yin practice, I feel not just a little bit better, I feel tremendously better. It has such a positive net impact on my life that is why I put it on the to-do list. Now, folding laundry, it feels good once it's done. You're like, oh, everything's done. I got it done. But it doesn't necessarily have that like reverberating benefit that not just enhances the rest of my day because I feel less pain. I feel really good in my skin. I feel agile. I feel like I've got my circulation. Nothing feels stuck. So it impacts every other aspect of my day. It impacts how I'm working. It impacts how I am interacting with my clients or with my family, right? So that right there shows you that one self-care practice has this ripple effect in a way that the laundry doesn't quite have, right? Like I do my laundry and I'm not necessarily nicer to my husband, right? So I do a yin practice and I promise you I'm nicer to everybody, at least for, a period of time. So that's one of the ways that you can really reframe your self-care practices is even though they might be on your to-do list, there is a ripple effect of positivity. There is a net positive impact from that task, that self-care task on your to-do list that makes it worth the investment. So now let's talk a little bit about this idea of an investment, because that really is what radical self-care is. Radical self-care is not just going to get a mani-pedi. I cannot say this more often. Nothing wrong with getting a mani-pedi, although these days I have been a little more critical of all the toxins and things that are involved, but I'm not going to go there on this episode. Not saying there's anything wrong with that, right? Especially if you enjoy the entire process, if it feels really good for you, if you love to look at your nails after you've gotten your mani-pedi, right? Like nothing wrong with that at all. However, when we really look at radical self-care, like what I was talking about, the self-care that actually has a ripple effect, not only on your mood and how you feel physically, but also on your health, right? That's what I really want to focus today is how does this act of self-care cause a positive ripple effect for decades to come, right? I'm talking about longevity. I'm talking about really making a difference in your life in the long run, not just, feeling good in the moment because you got your nails done, right? This is a different type of investment. This is an investment in you, right? This is an investment in the quality of your life. Do you see the difference? So again, no shade to the mani-pedis. It's just that we are up leveling our discussion of self-care on this episode. So one of the things that you want to think about is you do want to think about it as an investment, just like you would make a financial investment. If you're saving for retirement right now, you are making an investment in your life after you decide to stop working, right? It's the exact same idea. And a little bit consistently goes a long way. But it takes time to pay off, right? It's not just like, oh, I made this one investment. I did yin yoga once this month, and therefore I'm now, done until next month. Like it doesn't work that way. We have to make more than just one deposit in order to really see the benefit. And now I know you know this, right? But I think it's worth repeating. The compound effect is real when it comes to investing in our health, just like the compound effect is real when it comes to investing in our financial wealth. So one of the things that I like to have people think about is really asking yourself this question: why is self-care, radical self-care, why is investing in my health and wellness for decades to come, why is this important to me? Now, here's a couple of things that I want you to think about. First, I want you to imagine, now really imagine this. And if you're part of our TLYC Collective and our Facebook group, this journal prompt will be provided for you in the group. So you can get it there. If you're not a member, just go to Facebook and Google TLYC Collective and you can become a member. But really ask yourself, journal about this. Why is this investment in my health and my longevity important to me? So one of the things that comes up a lot with the women that I work with is their kids and grandkids, right? They want to be around, and not just around, but they want to be healthy and strong and vibrant for their families, for the next generation and the generation after that, right? I hear women say all the time, I want to be able to get up and down from the floor when I'm playing with my grandkids. I want to feel good. I want to feel strong, right? I want to do all of these fun, cool things with my family. I don't want to be stuck, left behind. I want to enjoy them. And so therefore I need health in order to really maximize my enjoyment. The other thing that's been coming up a lot lately with a couple of my clients is this idea of leaving a legacy. right? And so this exists whether you have children or not. This could be a legacy in your family, but it also could be a legacy in your career, in your contribution. And for a lot of us, we hit 50. I'm not at 50 yet, but I have many clients who are 50 and above. We hit 50 and all of a sudden we start thinking about legacy. We're like, wait a minute, I put in all these years, building this career, making this impact. What kind of legacy do I want to leave, right? If I'm willing to work for 15 more years for some of us, what is the legacy that I want to leave? And so you're going to need your energy and your health in order to really make that impact that you want to make, that you are craving in this world. So that's two areas that you might think about why your health and why investing in your health is so important. But before you even start to journal that out, I want you just to imagine, just picture it in your head. I want you to picture your investment paying off. Like really picture your investment paying off. So really picture yourself playing with your grandkids or making a bigger impact in your business or your bottom line, and then the legacy that you're leaving to future generations, or the donations you're making to organizations that matter to you because you took such good care of your health that you were able to create the wealth that you desire. And now you're distributing and sharing that wealth as your legacy, right? Really, really picture it. Don't skip this step. Jot it down. You don't need to do it right now as you're listening. I know a lot of you are driving in a car or folding laundry or whatever it is, but take the time to journal about this later. You can definitely drop your thoughts and even your vision about it in a comment in the Facebook group. Post it in our Facebook group, TLYC Collective. But this is so important, and you'll see why in a little bit. So make sure you take some time to write down, why is making this investment in radical self-care important to me? Okay, I'm going to move now to share with you a little bit about why this topic is so important and relevant to me in my life right now. So first of all, yes, it's February. I love talking about radical self-love in the month of February. I love talking about, if you missed it last time, such a legendary book, The Body Is Not an Apology, The Power of Radical Self-Love by Sonia Renee Taylor. Such a good one. If you haven't read it, go read it. But also, in particular, it's not just the fact that it's February. It's particularly relevant to me right now because I am a woman who's always been very high achieving, go-getter, tons of energy, push energy, right? That's how I got myself to UC Berkeley and Stanford and, climbed up the ranks in my previous career prior to being a coach. And it served me well when it comes to listing off my achievements and my accomplishments. But then at the age of 45, I was diagnosed with an autoimmune condition. And autoimmune disease, there's many factors, but one of the factors has a lot to do with stress and how hard you push yourself. And part of me is like, really? I created this disease? Like, you're going to blame me for creating this, this health condition? But no, it is not my fault that I developed an autoimmune condition. And if you have an autoimmune condition, it's not your fault either. But how hard we push ourselves plays a role. Our cortisol levels, our stress levels play a role in the development of the disease. And then in particular, the development of symptoms and what we call flares. So this has been particularly important, a particularly important topic for me lately because of my recent my diagnosis came about because I was experiencing a ton of symptoms that I won't even start to even try to list the entire list here. But the main symptom that was particularly disturbing to me was extreme fatigue, right? So I would wake up in the morning and I would feel okay and I would have my coffee and I would get my kid off to school. And I'm just feeling I kept needing to drink more coffee. And I would walk the dog. And these are things I've been doing, every day for many years. And then all of a sudden I come home from walking the dog and I had to go lie down. Like I was exhausted. And that is not like me. That is not like me one bit. As you can see, I have a lot of energy. So that is definitely what led me to push my doctor for blood tests and things like that to find out what is going on. Well, I was diagnosed with there's a reason I'm experiencing all this fatigue among many, many other symptoms. But the fatigue is the most disruptive to my life. And in particular, it is disruptive to my work, right? Because pretty hard to get work done if you have to keep going back to bed all day because you're so fatigued. So I started having lots of thoughts, particularly after my diagnosis. I started having a lot of thoughts like, what if I can't work anymore, right? I'm self-employed, y'all. Like I don't work I can't go take disability anymore and have somebody continue to pay me. I work for myself. So what if I can't work anymore? What am I going to do? What if it's something worse than an autoimmune, right? Like what if it's something terminal potentially, right? And then of course your brain just starts going in all of these directions. So I really had to approach my life, my time, and my energy totally differently than I've ever done before, because I could not rely on push energy to get me there anymore, right? I couldn't use push energy anymore. I didn't have it. Even if I wanted to, I didn't have it. And the little few times that I did, it would completely deplete me and I would be laid out again. So it was not working for me to continue to rely on that energy. Now, if you know me, you know I have big dreams. And I love the word dreams, but they're plans, right? Like these aren't like pie in the sky dreams. Like I have plans here, people. And my plans involve my impact and my contribution, particularly to women and girls. But then also I have plans for my family, right? I have a young son. I have so much work left to do in this world, and I can't do it lying down, right? I need that energy back. So I really needed to find a different approach to how I was serving, how I was contributing, how I was working, and how I was spending time with my family. And full disclosure, I'm still in the process of figuring that out. Like I do not mean to in any way imply that I've got it all figured out, but I have learned a lot. And I want to share that with you right now. So I'm going to give you an example of what I mean by learning new ways of being. The first one is just a simple example has been for my morning routine. So as an entrepreneur, and I know a lot of you who are watching and listening are also entrepreneurs, as entrepreneurs, we have the beautiful benefit of creating our own schedules. And so recently I have a lot of trouble getting going in the morning. Like I said, I can get myself to school, but oftentimes I feel like I need to go and lie back down. Well, I don't necessarily need to go back to sleep, but I need to rest my body. And I used to feel a lot of concern about that, not guilt, but concern, because I'm like, I got to get in the office. I work from home, by the way. My office is in my home, but I got to get into the office. I got to start working. I got to tackle my to-do list. I got to go, right? That push energy feels awful when you are horizontal. So I was recently reading, and this woman who has fibromyalgia, she's the CEO of some big company, but she works from home. She mentioned that in the mornings, she gets up, she gets her coffee or her tea, and then she goes back to bed. And she does her journaling, she does her routine in bed and with a heating pad. And then she actually pulls out her laptop and works from bed. And I was like, wait, what? I could do that? And it's like, well, yeah, Leah, of course you could do that. You work for yourself, right? Of course you can do that. But it hadn't occurred to me that I could start work from my bed every day if I want to. Now, this is not just exclusive to people who work for themselves. I have a client actually who's a CEO of a major organization. She starts work every day from bed, at home from bed. Now she's doing it like 5:30 in the morning. But the point is that she does it too, right? And so it's not just for people who work from home. This can work for a lot of people. Now, I'm not suggesting that you do that too, but the point is that I had to listen to what my body needed. And then I had to respond with radical self-care. And for me, that has turned out to be radical self-care is working from bed for the first few hours of the day. So that's one example. Another example is I have been investing a lot of my time. So my friend Robin Eckersley is amazing coach for athletes in transition. She talks about our four main resources. They spell the word TEAM, TEAM, and that stands for your four main resources. In fact, maybe your only resources are time, that's the T, energy is the E, attention is the A, and money is the M. So I have been spending lots of those resources, my time, my energy, my attention, and my money on learning about this autoimmune condition that I have. And I've now been investing and I say investing because it's an investment in my health. I've been buying all kinds of crazy supplements and charcoal detox face masks and drinking smoothies every day. I have a Vitamix coming today. I've never owned a Vitamix before, you guys, so I'm excited about that because I wasn't a smoothie person before. In fact, there's my doorbell. Okay, how funny is that? I'm recording this in 2 parts, y'all, because my doorbell literally rang with a delivery of a bunch of my fancy schmancy bath salts and supplements and all that good stuff from Thrive Market, by the way. I'm not an affiliate, but if you don't know Thrive Market, it's wonderful, especially if you don't have any really great kind of health food stores in your area. So my point here is that I have been investing in all of these wonderful things to maximize nutrition for my body, which is something that, of course, I've always cared about eating real healthy food, but I've never wanted to take the time to invest in maximal nutrition and minimal digestive upset until now, because now I'm recognizing my body is telling me that this is what is necessary, that this is what it needs. So listening to ourselves and listening to our bodies is so worth it because our bodies keep the score. Our bodies are so wise. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not like buying a bunch of supplements because my body's telling me. I'm doing a bunch of reading and then testing it out. But I will tell you that it's made a huge difference in terms of how I feel. So the other thing that I want to just make sure that I mention here, though, is that this is not like all like, oh, I got this diagnosis and then I started taking all these supplements and charcoal detox face masks and smoothies, right? La, la, la. Like that is not how this has been. This has also been really scary, right? Not just scary because of a diagnosis, but scary because my thought is, and I'm sure so many of you can relate to this, my thought is, oh my gosh, what if all of this time that I am now taking for self-care cuts into my ability to work, right? To take care of my family, to contribute. What if? And not what if, but how could it not, right? Like all this time that I used to spend working, I'm now like taking a magnesium salt bath, right? What if it cuts in? So what I want to share with you is the way that I have been thinking about it is that A, this is an investment in my health. So even if it takes some time now away from my ability to work and to produce, the payoff will come tenfold. I know that it will in the long run. That's the first thing. The second thing is I actually feel better when I take these actions, which actually increases my ability to work. So when I don't take actions to take care of myself, I'm not putting the investment in the bank, I will not only suffer for it in the long run, but I actually can suffer from it in the short run. And I would be willing to bet that you can too, right? Every time you're burning the midnight oil, every time you're not going to sleep, getting the sleep that you need, or the nutrition that you need, or the love that you need, or the intimacy that you need, or the rest that you need, I guarantee you it is having an impact on your ability to be productive at work and on your ability to create the relationships that I'm willing to guess you really crave. The other thing that I have been practicing, and this hasn't been easy for me, is trusting that my investment will pay off, right? It's easy to like think about this in theory, but there's this subconscious current that's like, oh, but what if your investment doesn't pay off? Now you're just wasting time now, and you're not even going to get the bang for your buck. But the truth is we will never know if the investment is going to pay off until it's time for the investment to pay off. And so I would rather hedge my bets, right, that the investment is going to pay off than dismiss it now and then it's guaranteed the investment isn't going to pay off, right? So yeah, see what I'm saying here? It's worth the time and energy. So here's what I want to leave you with. When your brain is protesting, taking time for self-care, the number one practice that you want to employ is to return to your why. Assume that it will pay off and return to your why. You will thank me later.
You've been listening to The Life You Crave. I lost 30 pounds years ago without dieting, willpower, or deprivation. I'm on a mission to help other women, including you, do the same. You can book a free weight loss strategy session with me over at liapinelli.com. That's liapinelli.com. See you on our next call or on the next episode. And remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment on iTunes.